Can you tell me the story about the time that we were wine tasting for our wedding at Brittany's cousin's house?
Yes. Vaguely. We went wine tasting for Gamage's wedding at Brittany's cousin's house, and I believe this was right after they switched pastors. So they went from not being allowed, they were like a footloose town that was not allowed to drink or dance, to suddenly being allowed to drink and dance, which is, I believe, why we were able to do the wine tasting at their house. I think a lot of the wine was 19 Crimes, which I believe I recall being bad.
Important details.
Important details. And I know Gamage hated the whole concept. I'm sure other things happened.
Okay.
But I think I just remember the Footloose family part.
Can you tell me about the part where Brittany's cousin Josh gave you and your girlfriend at the time an issue of Sports Illustrated?
I actually have no recollection of what you're talking about. I believe you that this
so
happened,
funny.
But I don't remember this at all. So
that's so funny.
Damage,
so
could you tell me
did.
about the time that somebody's Josh handed me an issue of Sports Illustrated?
You are so eloquent with words. Yeah. So Josh, he's a part of a Christian family. They're very, 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 not conservative, but old fashioned, traditional.
Footloose
I think
Christians,
is what it is.
Man.
Yeah, Nazarenes, and they just recently started allowing their women to wear pants and dance. So they were enchanted by the very notion that Rachel here is of the lesbian sexual persuasion, and we'd all gotten pretty drunk, and Josh was excited, but not excited oh, can you guys kiss, but excited to run off, and then grabbed a Sports Illustrated he had, and then he gave it to I think he just gave it to your girlfriend. He was like, hey, here, you could have this if you want. I don't want it. That was kind of it.
Swimsuit edition.
Yeah, so
yeah, it's so funny that you remember this clearly, because I feel like weird shit like this happens constantly in my life, so I don't think I even remotely stored this in my brain for probably longer than a week.
Yeah,
that
we were
too.
all drunk. So
that too.
What happened was a week ago, I was drinking with Josh, and I got drunk, and I was like, remember that time?
Excitedly run up to you with the Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition?
But we were talking, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm still doing the podcast. Yeah, I'm doing it with Rachel. You remember Rachel? And he's just like, oh, and I'm like, she was the one at the wine tasting. She was a lesbian that you gave the swimsuit Sports Illustrated to.
Okay,
and he's like, what? He didn't remember either.
Well, let him know next time you see him that I also didn't remember. So if he feels any type of way about it, it's not a big deal, because I don't recall.
No word. I'm holding on to the memory for all of us. But he was fucking mortified.
That's actually
He was like, what do you mean?
The fuck did I do? Sorry, he probably didn't curse. He probably went, oh, dear Lord, what did I do?
He curses. He curses and drinks. He's he's one
of them
generation.
Cool Nazarenes.
Yeah, those are a thing.
Fuck. Man, that's funny. Yeah, I really don't remember that at all. That's fucking hilarious.
He did also say, don't ever mention this again. And I said, of course.
Don't listen to the podcast next week.
He's not listening.
Oh my God. Can I have a good opening story for you also.
Sure, yeah, while we're striking fire.
So I was trying to explain that I had a small, hardcover, leather-bound book, and I accidentally said, I bought a leatherback, and everybody at the table that I was with was like, oh my God, is that a slur? And I was like, I don't think it is, but Google it, I guess. So then we Googled it, and apparently a leatherback is a very butch, manly-looking lesbian. And I was with a butch, manly-looking lesbian, and she was like, when you tell this story, tell them you took the leatherback out to dinner. And I was like, I will, always. From now on, you're my sweet, sweet leatherback.
That's what I thought it was too. Like I know that there is like a slur including back, but I don't think it's leatherback. I just thought of the lesba term.
Yeah, no, from our brief Googling, I don't believe it is any sort of like racial slur, but it's apparently a lesbo slur.
It's a lesbo slur?
I guess. I mean, it's meant to be like a derogatory, not good looking, like a very butch masculine lesbian.
But like if you are that, then because I've definitely met like some lesbians who are like definitely like they were older, more overweight, more out, like very, very far butch, and like they didn't care. Like it didn't affect. They're like, yep.
Again,
like I remember every time I would hear her answer the phone and be a little like, hello, yes, this is she.
yes,
I'm a
this
woman.
is the leatherback.
No, like she was just like she would always get mistaken for a man on the phone.
Could you imagine?
She was very butch.
Thank you for calling Staples. This is the leatherback speaking.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I actually really miss answering the phone at Staples because I would say, thank you for calling Staples, home of the world's largest staple. And it would really throw people off for several minutes. And they'd be like, really? No.
Until you get one person that's like, no, you're not. You don't have it.
You're full of shit. No, a lot
the
of
real
them
ones
were
in
like,
Dubai,
what?
stupid ass.
Yeah, somebody's like, in Kentucky, there's a bigger staple than what you have. And I'm like, who owns it? Who owns it? I dare you. And
Staples,
inevitably,
isn't it?
neither of us are going to look it up, so it's a wash. Anyway, yeah, so when you're out and about this week, call somebody a leatherback. Have a good time.
No, don't do that.
I think you should.
Welcome to We Have That Podcast at Home, the gayest podcast today, just for today, but it was last week by the time you're listening to it, so now we're like just a normal podcast.
But
I'm on
gay.
Brand Gamage.
And I'm definitely gay Rachel. Each week we play Russian roulette with our success and spin a wheel to find out the genre of next week's podcast. Last week our spin landed on... I actually don't remember
Jesus
what
Christ,
it was.
Rachel. It was true crime. It was true crime.
Oh,
Sorry,
yeah,
Autism
it was true.
Hour,
It
I
was
guess,
true
if you
crime
wanna-
again, which basically means Autism Awareness Month. And so we're covering tropes, gay tropes in media. LGBTQ+.
Please, it's Homo-trope-ia?
Yeah, sorry, we're covering Homo-trope-ia. You're right. My apologies. And that's the episode title, kids. We can all go home now.
Goodbye, everybody.
Homo-trope-ia.
But Rachel...
But Gamage...
What is a trope?
So, you know, when you're like in English class in high school...
A trope is a storytelling
Thank
device
you.
or convention, a shortcut for describing situations the storyteller can reasonably assume the audience will recognize. Tropes are the means by which a story is told by anyone who has a story to tell. We collect them for the fun involved. Tropes are not the same thing as cliches. They may be brand new but seem trite and hackneyed. They may be thousands of years old but seem fresh and new. They are not inherently bad. They are not inherently good. Tropes are tools that a creator of a work of art uses to express their ideas to the audience. So tropes aren't bad inherently. That's the important takeaway from this is tropes aren't supposed to be bad. What we've done is we've gone through, we found a list of common gay tropes on the LGBTQIA plus wiki, and we wanted to talk about them. I actually added a couple extra that I wanted to talk about too on the side, but these are like the most commonly used gay tropes in movies, books, comics, TV shows, blah, 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 music even, whatever. But like, I did want to say tropes don't always mean bad. So we're going to go through these and then we're going to kind of read the descriptions, kind of come up with like our own thoughts and what type of like TV show or movie they've been used in and gauge whether or not like it's that bad of a thing.
I'm really glad that you just went ahead and explained trope. Because it was going to be awkward when I told a really long story about how I didn't understand how to explain or really even grasp what a theme was in writing for a very long time. I'm like, I kind of get the concept, don't even remotely know how to begin explaining or analyzing it. Mostly because they're nonsense sometimes.
It's just a recurring theme, also a motif that just happens to be tangibly, that you can tangibly point at and go, it's the thing. Is there a princess that needs rescuing? Damsel in distress. Bam, that's a trope.
Yeah,
not the same as a cliche.
Fact checker, I was gonna say a stereotype, but the reason I paused is I do kind of feel like a cliche is more of like what a stereotype would be parallel to.
I feel like a cliche is a trope that's used enough to the point where it's incredibly predictable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess I'm thinking negative connotations to it, which is why I'm associating them, but we should get into it.
Yeah. So, starting at the top of the list of this list of tropes is one that I wasn't that aware of. I mean, okay, so the first trope is all lesbians want kids. This one wasn't on my radar before this. I think I was just kind of seeing the common like biological cloak or biological clock trope.
I want my biological cloak back, thank you.
But I was just saying the biological clock trope that just kind of encompasses all women in media because women in media are a monolith, and being a lesbian doesn't exempt you from being written by a man. Now, I'm not a lesbian or even a woman, so I can't really say if it's harmful to lesbians as a whole. But the trope itself is just like, if you're a lesbian, you want kids, because all like lesbians are women and women want kids, right? All the time, every time.
I feel like this trope is really just pigeonholing the issue that all women face, which is that in most media, there is some sort of plot line that exists around them wanting kids or the expectation that they should want kids, which is, I don't know, it's kind of like a catch-22 because at some point it's like women do face these issues, but a lot of the times the writing is more based around like, oh my God, like I really want a child. And then it will be like, it's not often a woman being like, I don't want children, and that being a journey of how to respect that decision and not be weird about it. It's usually being really fucking weird about that decision or wildly disrespectful, or she changes her mind. And I feel like this is just that same thing, but specific to lesbians.
Does the Bechdel test extend to children as well? Like if you are two women talking and it's not about a man, but it's about the potential of childbirth, is that failing the Bechdel test?
Can you remind me what the Bechdel test is?
The Bechdel test is where two women in a film, media, TV show, book are having a conversation and it's not about a man.
Oh, I think it depends on how they're having that conversation, because I do feel like oftentimes the trope of women wanting kids, and if it's non-traditional, which for lesbians it would be, it tends to be a large conversation around sperm donors, and frequently they explore the like having a friend do it or somebody that you know, and then so I think it would inherently then become about men.
Like I think the only time I've ever seen this trope is in the show Queer as Folk. I watched that when I was probably too young to watch it. But like they like the token lesbians in the show, because it's a show about gay men played by a lot of straight people, by the way. But like it had like there was like, yes, we have lesbians here, see? Inclusive. But like the lesbians were handling like we want a child, but we're lesbians, and then they get one of the gay men to donate to make it, and that was the entire plot point of the lesbians. Like, goodbye lesbians, back to gay threesomes.
And that is also kind of the plot line in the L Word. Is they're like, we want a child, how are we gonna get sperms? And then now we have sperms, what do we do?
I mean, it's all over the place. Now it does have like a list of examples, and on here it does have Supergirl, but I will argue that's a little different because they're referring to the character Alex Danvers, who was like gets into a lesbian relationship, and she's like, I want kids. However, I will say, she didn't start out as a lesbian in the show. She started out as like, I'm looking for love because I want a family. I want to have children. And then realizes her sexuality later in like 4 seasons in or some shit, gets into a lesbian relationship, and then becomes the trope. Is this trope harmful, Rachel?
I mean, I think it's like I said earlier. I don't think it's necessarily like inherently harmful to lesbians. I think it's a larger conversation about a trope that I do think is harmful to women, but in this particular case is looking at it through the lens of lesbians specifically.
Yeah, I do think it's more of like, it says more about how we treat women in media than it does lesbians, which is just kind of an extension. Sorry, you're an extension.
You're just a subsidiary of this bigger problem.
Fun fact, one of the earliest things of this trope is used in the 1970s film Pink Flamingos, which is a satirized story of an evil couple that kidnaps and impregnates women to sell the babies to lesbian couples. Now, it's a very satire, very funny movie because it has Divine in it, that a very famous drag queen who was the inspiration for Ursula in The Little Mermaid. It's worth a watch. It's campy as shit. So it's not as harmful as it sounds when you read it out loud.
It's not as harsh. I love when there's like phrases that exist or like experiences that exist in the world, and then when you vocalize them, you're like, that sounds a little bad.
There's definitely like games or movies that are like, I'm trying to explain it, and like the farther I'm explaining it, the more I'm like, this sucks. Abort.
Run.
And luckily, I'm the kind of person that realizes the hilarity of a situation, and I find it really funny if I'm talking and then mid-sentence stop and then walk away. Like, I'm like, this isn't worth it, and it's funnier if I just bail. And that's exactly what I'll do. Bail.
Poof, gone.
Next up on the list is bury your gays.
And this
Rachel,
one's
have you buried your gay recently?
Big fucking problem. Well, as you know, all gays are murderers. That's why the straights hate us, is because the agenda is to murder and bury other gay people and blame it on straight people.
That one's not on the list, but I should have put it. Little side note is always like using gay people or psycho bisexual lesbians for was it Fatal Attraction? Yeah, but like those ones where it's just like they're gay and they're evil, and that's like kind of like a dehumanizing thing. But like, back to bury your gays, which is potentially just as harmful, is a trope in media that perpetuates the idea that a gay character always dies, because it kind of always happens. This is the first gay trope that I started realizing on my own, and then like once I noticed it, I became hyper aware of it. I'm like, oh, there it is.
Yeah, it's like pretty pervasively constant. And so there are some pieces of media in life that I will really sit down and I will think a lot about all of the different aspects of it, to the point where it's like when you're reading a book and the author's describing that grass is green and you're like, oh, this must mean something. And there's pieces of, and sometimes it doesn't. But so there's pieces of media that I for sure have overanalyzed in the world. And then there's lots of times that I don't, because it's exhausting and tiring, and sometimes doesn't do great things for people's mental health if you spend too much time thinking about the fact that gay characters predominantly get killed off. So in preparing for this episode, I was talking to my roommate who has passionate feelings about specifically the bury your gays trope. Yes. And she said something to the effect of, yeah, bury your gays because we need to have the subliminal messaging that being gay will tragically ruin your life. And I was like, you know what? That's probably why it's done. Hadn't really thought that far into it, but that's probably right.
What's really interesting is the history of this. Like, I learned, it even says right here in the wiki that authors such as Oscar Wilde used this trope as he and dozens of others were otherwise forced to censor their works or suffer consequences. Mm-hmm. In his novel, The Picture of Dorian Gray, the character Basil Hallward had an obvious attraction to Dorian, which ultimately led to Wilde's own indecency trial. Wilde intentionally buried the subtext by symbolically having Dorian murder Basil. So it kind of seemed like as a way to like curtail censors, and that's probably what big corporations are doing now when they write a character in Voltron being all like, yeah, he's gay, but he died a while ago, so it doesn't really matter. Mm-hmm. They're probably trying to like be like we included it so we get brownie points, but it's different now. Where we're more accepting, and we shouldn't be using this at all because it is extremely harmful.
Yeah, well, and I feel like to dive into the specific example that you used, it's interesting that I imagine initially this became a trope, like you said, to kind of appease what censorship needed to be needed to happen for a book to still get out. And then I
Yeah.
feel like it had the snowball effect where it was like, okay, this is just the totally fine thing to do. And it's like, I feel like actually writers probably would have chosen different paths. And because they were censored, we now have this path. And you're choosing to keep taking it.
I do think that I also kind of feel like I wasn't there, but like in the 1800s, like gay authors kind of had like this. I was not there this time. No, next time though I will be. But I do feel like I feel like it'd be kind of fun in the 19th century. It would not be fun, but it would be fun for like gay authors in the 19th century to kind of have code for each other. Like, this means this, and the idiot straight people are just ignoring it.
I mean, that probably did exist to some degree because there's so many like the whole concept of like a lavender marriage where like people would have lavender parties because they're like, I actually really just want to hang out with my gay homies.
What I think really put the nail in the coffin as far as this trope is concerned is the HIV/AIDS pandemic in the 80s. Because once that happened, it gave a lot of writers just an easy out. Like, oh, they're gay, but, being gay means that you're going to have AIDS and die. So, boom.
Yeah.
That's real. That's cleaned that itself up nicely.
Yeah, well, and to your point, it's like this way to explore this, proverbial taboo without actually having to do it any justice, because you're like, oh, we can just kill you off when it gets complicated or too progressive, I guess. I do think this concept is interesting because, and I'm totally pulling this out of my ass, but this has been my experience in watching media, that initially it feels like being a gay man became something that was a bit more acceptable in media, and so it's predominantly like white gay men are shown in media. And then as that has switched to opening up the field for more queer players, if you will, it has become this thing where it's like, all right, gay men can kind of have like these happy endings in relationships, and now we're gonna stab and murder the women constantly, and they need to die.
I mean, look, men have always had a foot up in most corners of history. Most, I'm talking like 95-ish% corners of history. But like, so when gays started being accepted into the media, lesbians were still a little bit behind, and that's kind of on you. What are you going to do about it?
Our Subarus wouldn't start.
They're all stalling. We need a mechanic, but like, the leatherback is not here today.
The leatherback has her day off. Oh, fuck.
But I do think the barrier gaze is the second most common gay trope.
What do you think the first
of
most
all
common
time
is?
I think gay best friend is the most common trope.
Yeah, I think that's completely valid.
Yeah, which is later on the list. We'll get there. I do think that of all of the gay tropes, the barrier gaze might be the second most harmful.
What do you think is the first?
I have one down on the list that I want to talk about.
Because
one that barrier gaze is like maybe tied for first. The one that I have in mind that I want to talk about, it's not on this list, is kind of a gray area.
Okay. I look forward to getting there because I personally would say, and I might change my tune when I hear what you're talking about, but I do feel like the barrier gaze trope is probably one of the most, I think it might be the most harmful one because
it probably is, yeah.
To the point of, it's
especially
teaching you
the history behind it.
If you choose to be, openly gay or express gay feelings to somebody, like it results in some imminent doom and your life is going to be tragic and hard, is absolutely subliminal messaging that exists, whether it's intentional or not.
Yeah, I agree. I do think, like I said, like I do think it is at least tied for first for me. The one I have in mind is, like I said, it's kind of a gray area, and I do eagerly wait to talk about it. Next up on the list is cancel your gays. This one, is it a trope or is it just kind of like a phenomenon that just happens a lot?
I have mixed feelings about this because I do feel like to some degree this is a trope because there are a significantly higher amount of television shows that get canceled that contain queer characters. Like there's a website that's actually quoted on this LGBTQIA plus media trope website that we're reading off of, called I think Autostraddle, and it did a analysis. I don't want to call it a study because I don't feel like there was that much science involved.
Data.
I might be wrong. Yeah, it pulled some data, rightly or wrongly, that said 256 TV programs that featured LGBT characters only lasted a single season. So in 2024, there was 256 television programs with queer characters that only lasted one season, which is pretty insane.
Yeah, I mean, because it gives examples, and I'm going down the list. It's a long list, by the way, and this is just a small section of it, of like recent media too. But like, there's a lot of shows on here where I'm like, oh, like I really loved I Am Not Okay With This. It was a great show. That sucks that it got canceled. Everything Sucks is also good. It's kind of mad that got canceled. But then like Warrior Nun is on here, and I'm like, I probably would have canceled that too.
That's actually funny because I just started watching that this week.
It's okay. It's like kind of fun, but like when you're done, you're like, well, I don't remember starting that, and that's okay.
I think here's my mixed feelings about this. I do think there's a trend where it's like cancel your gays. I think it's probably significantly easier for a show to get canceled if they're representing queer media. Because like, we'll just use Avatar as an example. They wanted to have gay characters at the end, and Nickelodeon was like, we will cancel this whole shit if you do not fix this. So then they just held hands instead of like having a kiss scene. And so I understand that portion, but I also feel like because this negativity and probably a lot of censorship going back, to the Oscar Wilde period of like being told like, hey, if you include this, we're not publishing your shit. I think inherently makes it so that larger media publications probably spend less time, and larger media publications usually have, more money for better writing teams. So I feel like there's this sort of like mixed bag of the media that is being published that does have queer representation is probably not as well funded and probably not as well written. And that's, inherently like going to result in it probably getting canceled just because it doesn't have funding. Like, I mean, if we use the fucking gay hockey show that just came out, Heated Rivalry, they had such a low goddamn budget for their first season, but it became such like a cult classic thing that, they're getting renewed for the next season. But like the likelihood that they could have flopped just as hard and never been renewed, like was like a flip of a coin.
Yeah, I mean, I still haven't watched it, but oh my god, what? What?
Did you? Oh my god, what? You saying that you haven't watched it?
No, I'm. This is how I learned that Arcane got canceled.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's on the list of cancel your gays. What the
fuck? This is upsetting, actually. This is like when you learn that grandma dies from Facebook because your cousin posts shit too quick. What?
Also, our flag means death. I didn't know that one either. Damn.
Arcane got canceled? I've been waiting for the next season.
Well, it serves you right. Dead Boy Detectives, I loved, but I didn't see people watching it. The Acolyte, God, that was such a good show, but that wasn't because that was because Star Wars fans are the fucking worst.
That wasn't because the gay. A good show that does have gay people in it, and some offshoot of this is mentioned here, Orphan Black. I don't remember if they kill off the gays. I'm pretty sure they do, because I think she has like cancer
please
or something.
Please don't. I just started. I'm halfway through season 4 right now. I literally was watching it today. Stop.
It's a good fucking show. Go watch it. That's all what I'll leave it at.
No. It's been on my list forever, and I'm at work, and I'm like, all right, I need another show. Here's this one. I've been meaning to watch this, and
If
I put
it
it on, and I'm
makes
like,
you feel any better,
oh shit, that's She-Hulk. I love Tatiana Maslany. She-Hulk, great. And then it's just like, wow, she's one of the best actresses of our time, yo.
She's fucking incredible. She needs
Jesus
more credit.
Christ.
Because holy shit. Yeah, if it makes you feel any better, I don't think I've even gotten to... I've maybe watched to season 4, but I've never finished it, so I have no major spoilers for you. And it was years ago. So I just know very minimal things. But
I know
holy
that there was...
fuck, she's an incredible actress.
It is bonkers how...
Mind-boggling.
The show's about clones, all right? A little bit of a spoiler. It's 5 minutes in. But the show is about... a clone, all played by the same person, and she has to play different characters with different accents. But then she takes it a step further because occasionally those characters will have to like be in hiding and play that character playing another character, and it's like she still does it. It's incredible.
Well, and you can because you're spending all these time with the different versions of her. Like you can tell when one is playing when one version of the character is playing a different character.
Yeah.
So you're like, this is Tatiana Maslany playing this clone who's pretending to be a different clone. And you're like, what the fuck?
Honestly, the soccer mom version might be one of my favorite characters written ever. She's incredible. It is so good. That or Helena, the Ukrainian assassin.
Oh my god,
bonkers
she's fucking phenomenal.
Bonkers show. I highly recommend it. I'm the last person in the world to watch it though, so you're
Well, not yet, because I think you've surpassed me, so you're not the last.
Also, they did have another one that came out, Orphan Black Echoes, which starred Kristen Ritter, which I've been planning to watch, but that got canceled.
One got canceled.
Looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right here on the list. Next down on the list is the closeted jock / armor closet gay. I think it's more commonly referred to as the armored closet gay because I found that on the TV tropes website.
I don't think I've ever heard armored closet gay. And it makes me wish I had an armory in my closet.
This is the one about where like the people that are like, oh, those fucking gays, I'm not gay like me. I'm the head jock. Like that's the like they're the ones that are actually gay, which happens in real life all the time. But like I feel like it can be harmful because now like anybody who's like out there being who's criticizing and projecting to gay people but are like conservative and super right wing, it's perceived that they're the ones that are in the closet. But I feel like that's just kind of like a double kind of loop-de-loop harmful, like, okay, so gays can be hateful too, is kind of what it feels like. You're just kind of pointing the finger back at the gay community as a whole.
Yeah, I can understand that. I do feel like if this trope is done right, oftentimes it points to, okay, if this trope is done right, I feel like it really addresses the toxic masculinity expectation within culture, but it's just frequently not done right. And so it then sort of makes this pervasive effect on toxic masculinity as opposed to really addressing the fact that it's like a lot of times when people express those feelings, even if they are straight or are gay, it's because of this like overwhelming blanket of expectations that's been leveled at them since they were a small boy child.
Now, I think the real issue is the fact that there's any sort of belief that there are hardcore lines in when it comes to sexual orientation. I feel like it's way more fluid of a spectrum than people think it is. And what it ends up doing is it makes these toxic, insecure people create these hard lines and be like, you're either here or you're here and there's nothing else. And it's like, no, because now you've got bullies who are projecting and they're just as confused as everybody else. And it's just stupid.
Yeah, I mean, I really have nothing to add because that's absolutely correct. Like you're just putting people in boxes for the sake of putting them in boxes, and that's not really how humans work. I get that labels help us identify things, but also to a point they're flawed.
I feel like we label too much, and like I brought this up last week. Is like I feel like there might be a little bit too many labels. Like I feel like on some level, it seems like people kind of want their own special label for themselves. Like,
I think
you
it's a
know,
hard back and forth because, like, I get what you mean. Because, for example, we're on this
like,
website and I looked at LGBTQIA plus, and I was like, "What the fuck are the additions?" And I was like, "Okay, I think it's intersex and asexual." And I was like, "It's." I think labels can be nice in the sense of when you don't know how you feel about something, or you
yes,
don't know like what you're defining, like what is being defined within you. It can feel really lonely and isolating. And then when you have this word for this thing you've been experiencing, like I think I forget where I read it, but it was an article where somebody was talking about they were discussing the concept of like learning they were trans from Twitter, and they're like, I didn't really learn that I was trans from Twitter. It was for the first time in my life I read something that explained how I felt on the inside, and I had been trans the whole time and I just never had a word for it. And then, they came across, some tweet where it clicked, and there they are, and they're like, "Oh,
yeah,
I am a transgendered human being and this is why I feel this way. And this is normal and there's other people that are like this, and it's not like I'm not some weird amalgamation of a creature that's experiencing this thing alone anymore." And
yeah,
that's where labels are beautiful and helpful,
yes,
but they
agree.
also alternatively can do the exact opposite where they fucking alienate people. Because another good example is you have all these people that are under this like queer spectrum under the LGBTQIA plus. So we'll just call it, everybody's under the plus. And people will get so divisive if you're in a different group than where they are. And it's like, dog, we're all the same group of people kind of fighting for the same desire to be like seen and understood and respected. And now there's infighting because you're gay, I'm a lesbian, or they're a bisexual. And it's like, oh my, like, guys, stop it. This is where the
And my
boxes
age
become bad.
and my age is gonna show for a second because like when I was young, it was just LGBT. And then the Q was added to kind of be like, okay, so we're learning more about ourselves. There's more out there. There's so much more, and the Q is queer. The Q kind of encompasses all the people that aren't like in these other kind of sort of binary groups, and so that's what the Q is. And then that like, well, now we need a plus because there's some people who are like, I'm not queer, I'm this, which is different than queer because A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and it's just like, okay. Sure, we'll put the plus, and then
Yeah. And
now
then
we're
it
at
becomes all these other
LGBTQIA
things.
plus,
Yeah.
and have that. Have that. It's cool. Like if you want to be like, I want to have my I on the title of the LGBTQIA plus, have that. It's fine. I don't really care that much, and like it's more helpful to you than it is harmful to me. So
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna go to bed. Fine. Don't listen to me. At the end of the day, I'm wrong about most things, but like. It is kind of like am I going to wake up tomorrow and what else is going to be added?
Yeah, no, I feel the same way because I also went through, I think it was just LGBT. I think maybe there was an A and it stood for ally at the time, and now it's changed. And that's sort of where it's like when you start getting really
We're taking away
nuanced
your
with
allyship. That's for the asexuals now.
Yeah, it belongs to the asexuals. Fuck off.
You allies are in the plus now.
Yeah, you're part of this other collective. Fuck off. But I feel like that sort of continually changing and adding things can make it very alienating. Like I had somebody come out to me as bisexual, and then they started asking me all these questions about like demisexual and like pansexual and what all these things mean, and like asking all of these other terms. And I was like, I don't fucking know. I don't know. And sometimes you enter into a queer space, and I'm using queer as the umbrella term for everything. You enter into a queer space and not knowing that gets you alienated by other people. And it's like,
Yeah.
y'all, there's some people that don't know these things, and that is okay. Like, it doesn't mean they're inherently hateful for not having this base level of knowledge. And they're not
Patton
hateful
Oswalt
for
has
not.
a really good bit about that.
Do you have a synopsis?
Uh,
Or do you want to just
yes,
insert
I
the
thought
audio
you
clip?
already I thought you already knew it, but Patton Oswalt has a really good bit about this where he's just like, you got to be careful with the language because you'll immediately like start getting the people who are like rednecks using the F slur, being like, man, who cares if them gay people are out there sucking each other's dicks? Like, man, it's two men loving. Who cares? I don't care. And it's just like, but like you immediately, because he's using F slurs, you're immediately like, you're a little off center because of it. But like this guy genuinely is caring and an ally, and he doesn't care. But then he goes into like this guy who's like knows all of the linguistics about it, and he's just like very eloquently spoken, and he's very calm. But he's ultimately saying that he doesn't agree with any sort of homosexuality whatsoever. And like,
yeah,
but
exactly.
because he's so well spoken, he knows all the lingo, because he's like able to dance around words. Like you immediately think, oh, well, he's smart and he's not a vile person, when in fact it's the other way around. Now, mind you, this is a straw man argument and you should find your own experiences anyway. But like, there is like some truth to the, how you'll get people like, that, like RuPaul got a lot of flack because she called somebody a tranny, and like that was kind of what Patton Oswalt was like going on the bit about, where like people were hating on RuPaul, and it's just like RuPaul is like, I don't want to say old, but like RuPaul is like has definitely been here a long time.
RuPaul's Drag Race
has
been around for a long time. Like RuPaul is getting old. That's okay.
Yeah.
It's just factually true.
I don't want to call RuPaul old. I just feel bad about it. But like, I say being younger than RuPaul and saying I'm getting old. But like, you know, it's just like at some point it feels like, I say this a lot, we shouldn't be fighting the culture war. We should be fighting the class war. But we get stuck on these like little cultural things, and where we're fighting each other when we shouldn't be. And it's just like, no, we're all on the same side. And we gotta, even like the little minor discrepancies, we kind of just have to let it go.
Yeah, well, and that's
on some level.
No, I mean that you're saying it's a straw man argument, which like, yes, it technically is. But I feel like it really gets the root of the issue is, if you have somebody who is absolutely like their heart is in the correct place and they are doing their best to try and like fight for the cause, quote unquote, that's way more fucking important than somebody that knows all the right words and doesn't actually give a shit. Yeah. Which is, so many people know the right words but don't actually care about listening to other people's experiences.
And not even about just LGBTQ. Like this is all encompassing. Like in every corners of fandom, you'll find somebody like that who's just stupid and hateful like that. Yeah, well, and that's, I mean, yeah, it's every corners of fandom. It's every corner like of humanity. I'm going to use this. This is an example that's kind of becoming a stereotype. Like there are young white women who are so passionate about race that they forget to listen to the people who are actually experiencing racism. Dude. And that's a whole fucking problem. Because it's like, dog, you cease being an ally when you stop fucking listening. I actually worked with somebody who it was like that. I'm not doxing her, but like her name is actually ALLY, like ally, but it's it's pronounced. She went by Allie, but it's just like there's ally Allie, because all she would ever do is hug to Sabina and ask her like, "Is this okay? Is this okay?" And Sabina's like, "I need you to stop coming to me with these problems." Because she's exactly that. She was like that, like super, like she always got offended. Like she got hired on to Staples when I was the Easy Tech supervisor, and then get mad that I was in the supervisor position when she'd ask a question and I'm like, oh, I don't know. And she's just like, but aren't you the supervisor? Like why? It feels like they always put a man in this position who doesn't know what he's doing. And it's just like, bitch, we're both at minimum wage. Shut the fuck up. Yeah. Like, I don't disagree with you, but I'm not the enemy. I didn't put me in this position. Like, you're like, I actually truly wish I wasn't here. Thank you. Well, also, what's funny is that she, like the crux of it happened after we all stopped working there. But she like reached out to Sabina about dreadlocks. And because she was like, how do you feel about white people having dreadlocks? Because I've been thinking about getting them because it's part of my culture. And whatever your opinion is on that, know that I don't care. There are dreadlocks. Not what it's about. There are dreadlocks in Nordic culture. I don't care. There's dreadlocks in Rastafarian culture too. I don't care. But like she was asking Sabina, and Sabina was just like, well, I mean, yeah, there's these cultural things, but like, it is kind of tone deaf to like, notice these issues, but then go through with it anyway, because like, despite what white people decide to get dreadlocks in their head, it's still an issue for black people to have dreadlocks because they have to, because it's a part of their religion, like Rastafarianism. I don't actually know the full details of that, but it does suck for them to have that and then like automatically get kind of like have your name scraped off of like job listings and stuff. And what Ally decided to do was get them anyway. And then she just told Sabina like, oh, well, I'm going to do it anyway because I respect your opinion. And then it's just, and that's the part that's fucked is like, if you are going to ask somebody of color about their opinion on something and then do it anyway, despite what they say, like that's harmful and stupid, and don't do that.
Yeah, there's just not a point.
Yeah, it's literally virtue signaling. It's like, by the way, I'm an ally, and that's why we call her that. Moving on the list, because we're getting way ahead of it, is the gay best friend trope. This is the most common of the homotropias, in my opinion. Like,
yeah, I feel like this was like the safe option for a long time, because I think they say it in this little like tagline under it that like a lot of times they're this like really harmless sort of like they don't really have any sexual preference or like plot line going on. Is they're initially seen as like this comedic side character that
yes,
they have no investment in the main female characters, so they're not perpetuating any sort of issues. And that's obviously changed a little bit, but I feel like this is how queer media started, was like, all right, here's like the safe way to do this.
Yes, especially because like the gay best friend is a very specific type of gay person that is not every gay person. Like the gay best friend is like usually like the kind of twinky kind of
like a little bit
they even
catty.
said like, yeah, very catty, or like honey. Like it's a very specific type of flamboyant gay man, and it's like that's not. Look, I've never met a gay man that's like that. Like they exist, sure, but like of all the gay people I know, none of them are like that.
I live near LA. I've met so many
that are like this.
Yeah, a little bit. Not constantly, but yes, when they're feeling saucy.
I think this one's kind of harmful in that it kind of gives you like an image of what gay people are supposed to be.
Oh yeah,
and therefore you're like. It's giving straight people expectations on what a gay man is.
No, 100%.
But
it's giving the stereotype of like what gay looks like, because I mean, I'm saying like I live near LA. I know so many gay men who did this, but I'm like, I also know so many gay men who have acted like this because this was their example.
Yes.
So I'm like,
yeah.
It's almost like it's the concept of masking.
A group of basic
like,
white girls.
Well, yes, but it's the concept of masking where it's like when you see this person in public in a very particular situation where they're like supposed to be fitting this bill, they will fold themselves into this shape to fit this.
Yeah.
And then when you're like outside of that situation, they're a different person because they don't have to be this trope.
I forget who said it, but there was a gay man or gay comedian who was basically commenting like, the gay best friend trope is harmful because now every single basic bitch tries to be my friend because they need a gay best friend to hang on to. Bitch, I don't care about your problems.
Everybody wants me.
Next on the list is, we have a couple more, but I want to talk about the one I think is potentially one of the most harmful ones. And that is the non-human, non-binary trope. Like, by its name alone, you should go, oh, that one. This is the one where, like, if you have a movie or book or media and it has a robot with personality, or a doll brought to life, or an alien who's like, we are all one gender that's non-gender, it's always the non-binary character. And on one hand, I kind of get it because, like, I've definitely written characters which is like, there's no gender here. How do I write them? And so, like, of course, topics are going to come up with this, like, non-binary, non-gendered character where it's like, oh, what is a gender? Oh, what is this supposed to be? How is a woman supposed to act? How is a man supposed to act? Like, these questions are going to bubble up no matter what based on this character. But on the other hand, it is incredibly harmful because now you have your non-binary character. You're writing sci-fi, you wrote an alien, you have this alien non-binary character. That is the only non-binary character in your show now. So instead of actually having a non-binary character that's a human, you've put this monster, and it's essentially planting these seeds that, oh, non-binaries are non-humans. It's dehumanizing an entire spectrum of people.
Yeah, well, and it's such a complicated process because, like you said, there's inherently going to be characters that just don't have gender because, like, a robot doesn't have gender. And then a lot of times there's these weird situations where we will add gender to these things. And so it's very similar where it's like that's equally damning because it's like we can't let something exist without gender, which is hard to deal with for somebody that doesn't experience or like want to be associated with gender. And then the flip side is like when you do acknowledge that this being has no gender, it's frequently, like you said, not a human being.
Yeah.
And that's alienating in its own way.
There's a video by Queer Buccaneer on YouTube called Aliens, Monsters, and Faceless Demons, Non-Binary People in the Media. And it's really worth a watch because he goes into like detail about it and how, it is dehumanizing and like basically saying like non-binary people are monsters or aliens or robots. Like they're a monolithic, not human thing. And
you're something less.
I feel like in the media, for gay people and lesbians and bis, and the other ones are somewhat there, like trans people are kind of getting there, there is like an identity there. Whereas like non-binary doesn't really have an identity. Can you name one non-binary character in a TV show or movie off the top of your head?
I can, but only just because I just finished Dragon Age, and it is nice that they put in a non-binary character who is humanoid.
Oh,
but it is still, they are like a different race of being. And they pick the objectively like least humanoid race of being to explore this concept with. And then also made that character the most alienated version of their own species. So it's like, we made you the side of the side of the side, and that person can be the non-binary character. So it's like, it's still sort of feeding into that trope. And it's this, I don't know, I think it's so complicated because I was having this conversation with somebody the other day of, I think representation is good because even bad representation sometimes is still like getting your foot in the door, but there's also so much negative that can come with it. And so it's this really hard line to toe. Because it was refreshing to play a video game where one of the like main companions that you're dealing with is non-binary. It's Tosh, I think, is the name of the character from Dragon Age, and they're a Kunari. But their story's neat because it's going through them discovering that they identify as non-binary and having to talk about it with their mom and feeling like they're not accepted. I think the shitty part of it is I feel like that character was pretty poorly written and written to have... it just felt like they wrote that character more like a teenager than a adult person going through the storyline that you're going through. And it felt like they're infantilizing the experience of what it is to go through these things. And it's like, you're not necessarily always going to be locked into this, I'm like 15 discovering this about myself, and forcing it to be this sort of immature emotional character that's going through it is, on one hand, this does exist. There's people that are going to be like immature and young going through this discovery, but on the other hand, it kind of feels like you're diminishing this experience and making the non-binary character like the most, I guess, sort of out-of-pocket, outlandish, emotionally back-and-forth character, and that feels kind of demonizing as well.
One of the ones that I could conjure up in my head is Theo from Sabrina. Did you ever watch the remake of the Sabrina
No, was
Sabrina the
it
Teenage
good?
Witch, The Chilling Adventures. It's okay. It's pretty good. It's got some pretty cringy moments because it's definitely like, a CW
Yeah.
show
I think
where
I
it's just
watched the
like,
first couple episodes of the first season a few times and could just never get really into it.
yeah, one of the characters, I forget what their original name was, but they end up becoming non-binary and they want to go by Theo now. But like, I think he later like decides to be referred to as a boy. But like when they came out about it, everybody was just like, oh yeah, whatever. And I love it when that happens. Like I think of
Yes.
Umbrella Academy when I don't even remember her original name, but like when Elliot Page's character is like, I'm Victor now and I go by he him pronouns. Everybody's just like, okay, cool, everybody, you're a he him, that's
Mhm.
fine. We still hate you because you're the villain of the show.
And your gender has nothing to do with this.
Umbrella Academy's wild. I love it.
I never actually finished that. I need to do that.
Rest in peace, Gerard Way. He's not dead. I just want him to rest
Yeah, I was
and
like,
be peaceful.
did I miss something? I was trying to think back to if Gerard Way was actually dead, and I was like,
I
damn it,
want him
don't
to
think that's
rest.
real.
I want him to rest.
He deserves it, everyone.
He deserves it. So yeah, I think the non-human, non-binary is currently right now one of the more harmful tropes. But I think that non-human, non-binary and bury your gays are like up there.
Yeah.
Especially because gays kind of have an identity. Also, next to the non-human, non-binary is the adopting the gender binary, in that like there are some. Speaking of the Orville, here is the Orville has like a whole gender locked species of aliens. I can't remember their name. I remember the character Bortus.
Is that the guy with
Mocklins.
the wrinkly forehead?
Yeah, Mocklins are like an all-male species, and they occasionally have a female born, and they get mad about it, and they force it to like transition. And I'm not even gonna try to like go into it because it's like a 4-season like long
Yeah, it's
kind
a whole
of
experience.
thing. You should just go watch that instead of listening to me stumble around my memory.
Stumble around my mind palace.
Now, I'm going to combine two of the last ones that we have on here because I
When
kind
you're
of feel like
done
they're
with
the
that,
same.
it's not necessarily a trope, but something I'm curious about your opinion on.
Yeah, sure. But like, I'm also skipping over a couple of other ones. Situational sexuality is one I wanted to talk about, which is basically where when men go to prison and they get gay and then they come out and they're like, I'm not gay anymore, and it's stupid and silly.
Yeah, or like
and I don't care.
Everybody's a little bit gay in basic training.
Yeah.
That's one that we were talking about recently because a friend of mine is joining the Coast Guard, and so we were talking about the fact that everybody gets a little gay when the only people around you are the same gender. And it's not it's not like to belittle anybody's sexuality, it's just like more I think people explore their sexuality a bit more because of the lack of options, I guess.
Yeah.
Very quickly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you put everybody of the same gender in one spot for a long time and come back, not every one of them is going to be gay. Like,
yeah.
Of course not, but like some will be like, I've definitely broadened my horizons. Like that's
one of my favorites.
There's a little bit of truth to it.
Is so my roommate joined the military once long ago, and when she was in basic training, she was like, I was a bit of a whore because she's a lesbian. And so there's now all these girls who are like, I kind of want to try out being gay for a little bit because there's like nothing else for me to do here. So she was like, yeah, at one point, like I was sleeping with this girl, and she tells me, she was like, I've never felt this way about a girl before. And she's like, without missing a beat, I looked at her and was like, yeah, me too. She's like, fuck you, asshole. She's like, what do you mean you've never felt this way? You're a fucking liar.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. I thought you
speaking of lesbians, another trope that is more common, like once you realize it, is the psycho lesbian trope, where like, especially in like Japanese anime, if there's a lesbian, she's psychotic, and that's a very common thing.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and I feel like it's the like if a woman is queer in any way, it is very much you represent either some type of evil, like you were saying, the like succubus sort of vibes. Like even oh god, what was it called? Shit, what was the show where the main character's name is Bo and she's literally a succubus?
She was a succubus. Oh, that's Lost Girl.
Yeah, so like Lost Girl, obviously the main character is not actually evil, but that's very much how they paint that first episode, is like she is painted as this horrible fucking human being who's like eating people's souls.
But like, yeah, that's a complicated show to talk about. Yeah.
Yes. But it's,
love that show.
But yeah,
it's a great
that concept of like if you're a gay woman, you're somehow like psychotic or overly obsessed, and there's all these things.
And Brittany put it in the comments. Well, she misspelled it, of course, but like she put down exactly what I was about to bring up. Is the whole psycho lesbian thing is like when there's a lesbian and she's a psycho and she's a killer. It's always like attached to the whole like femme hysteria thing, where it's just like, oh, well, the woman's aroused because she has hysteria, you see? Hysteria.
Yeah. Women are hysterical.
But the last like two tropes I wanted to talk about that were on this list, I'm going to combine them because I kind of feel like they're the same.
Okay.
And that is queer baiting and or word of gay.
What is word of gay?
Word of gay is like when something happens and or nothing happens, and then the creators later go, oh yeah, they were gay. Like Avatar, Legend of Korra is kind of word of gay, but that's not their fault. They tried.
And, but it's become word of gay. Yeah.
Yeah. Or Supernatural, like Supernatural, like the whole Dean and Castile thing.
That's queer baiting for sure.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying, is it's queer baiting and word of gay, where like queer baiting is where they're kind of like doing a will they, won't they with gay characters, but never actually following through with it. So like...
word of gay would be like J.K. Rowling saying Dumbledore's gay after years of the books being out.
Exactly, yes. Okay. Is it's like, oh, well, he's actually gay. And it's just like, okay.
Yeah, it's like retconning diversity, essentially.
Yeah, very, very virtue signaling. But like the fact that there is Supernatural as an example is, I feel like queer baiting and word of gay are kind of intermingly. Where like if there's queer baiting, then it's most likely word of gay also.
I see your point. I do think they're different, but I do get what you mean, that there's a Venn diagram of crossover here that exists.
Yes, you got it.
Yeah, it's not that they're exclusively the same, but there is probably a much overlap going on. Yeah. I feel like this one's hard, and I think a lot of people struggle with understanding what queer baiting is, because like there are so many people that think that Taylor Swift's existence is queer baiting, and it's like, no. You wanting someone to be gay is not the same thing as queer baiting. What fucking Supernatural did was queer baiting, because everybody, they all knew that you guys wanted these characters to be gay, and that you'd been writing gay fan fiction about them. Yeah, and you're writing this story where, and don't get me wrong, like I do absolutely believe that platonic relationships should be really deep and like bordering on romantic, because you can have, I think a lot of intimacy gets saved for romantic relationships, and you should have more intimate relationships with your friends. I don't mean like go fuck everybody you know, or like, you can do that. That's fine. You can be totally platonic and have sex with people.
I don't care. Just don't tell me
Not what I mean. But like a lot of people don't interact with their friends the same way they do romantic partners. They're like, I'm going to save this secret for a romantic partner because that's who I'm sharing it with. And it's like, you should fucking tell your friends your secrets. You should buy them flowers. You should make them dinner. Like, do these things that you would do with a romantic partner, because really, like, the distinction here shouldn't be that big and that broad. And it makes, when you don't have a romantic partner, very lonely if you have that distinction there.
Yeah.
Because your life should be able to continue subsisting with friends. Because at the end of the day, like, that's what you got. Romantic relationships can end. Friendships can also end, but usually, like, there's a lot more shit going on there.
Yeah, you're right that a lot of people don't understand queer baiting, because, like, there are a lot of fandoms, a lot of like shipping. Shipping's a big thing where it's just like communities will like take two characters and be like, they're dating in our head. And they get so fucking toxic about it. Like, I was reading the manga. I started reading Marriage Toxin, and I was just like, oh, this is kind of cool. Not really for me though. And after learning that like the main girl isn't a girl, it's a boy, and like he's like helping the other guy find somebody to marry and continue the line of ninjas or some shit. It's a manga. What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? I also didn't read that much into it, so I might be getting some things wrong. But like I googled like, oh, is this a yaoi and or boys love manga? And you know it's not finished, so technically no, but not yet no either. So it might be. It's one of those will they won't they, and it's just like, all right, cool. But what my browser decided to do would be like, you're interested in this, so we're going to continue to recommend the subreddit for it. And every time I'm like just randomly scrolling on Reddit, I come across the Marriage Toxin subreddit, and it is fucking so toxic of people being all like, of course it's a boys' love. Of course these two are together. There's no other options. And it's just like, I don't actually care that much. And I can't imagine fixating on something like that.
Yeah, well, and I get being passionate about something that makes you feel
I wish I could be passionate about anything.
Life or better. Dude, sometimes I meet people that are passionate about shit, and I'm like, is there something wrong with me that I don't know if I've ever been this passionate about anything? And like, am I living a shallower life because I don't have these feelings about like something?
So not about that, but there is something wrong with you, yes. But not about that specifically.
You're like, it's not this, but yeah.
It's not. You're shooting in the right direction, but you're not hitting the target.
Like, passion's not what's wrong with you. It's lots of these other things.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I there's so many things that I'm like, I can't imagine caring this deeply about this particular thing. But, like, I get being passionate. I understand from a distance, apparently, the concept of being passionate about something.
Yeah.
But to the point of, like, aggressively arguing with people that disagree with you or, like, raging against the actors that play these characters, like, it's just, that's too far. Like, oh my God, leave people alone. Leave Brittany alone.
Yeah, it's it's the outrage passion that like. But again, I've already talked about this many times before about how like the internet is designed to like invoke outrage in people because that's how you get engagement is outrage. So like now I'll be like reading through things and people are angry about things, and then people are angry that people are angry about things, and then people are angry that people are angry that people are angry about things, and I just don't. And it's so much easier and lighter on my back, and I'm like, I'm gonna go make a tomato sandwich. That's what I'm gonna do.
Well, and I feel like there's such a value in feeling confident in the things that bring you joy and letting that be where it stands. Like if somebody that you love is like, fuck you for enjoying this, that's a problem. If a random fucking human being on the internet cares, who gives it? You don't fucking know them. They don't know you. You're both anonymous people to each other. Who gives a fuck? Don't care about that.
Person might also be a bot designed to make you mad and complain to people on the internet. Happens
exactly.
all the time.
So it's like, is it worth your time? Absolutely goddamn not.
And I've said this before, but what I'll do sometimes is I'll like type out an angry comment, read it, and then delete it. And I feel so much better about it. Like, I'm like, I don't even need to post it. I feel good.
Yeah. Yeah, valued. Valid? Not valued. Blah, blah, blah.
What are the tropes that you wanted to talk about?
Okay, so I wanted to discuss with you, because this has come up a lot recently with heated rivalry. How do you feel about the concept of straight women having what is frequently described as like an obsessive, fetishized sort of view of gay men?
So we were kind of just talking about this with the queer baiting thing, because all of those people that were talking about Marriage Toxin, all women. But like yaoi's like, I've only met one gay man who reads yaoi. Yaoi is like manga, but with gay relations. Every person I've ever met that is into yaoi, all women, all of them, every single one. Now, I noticed that there are a lot of women who are into boys love is what it's usually called, where like two men are together and fixate on that, or even the fandom ships of it. But like, I want to know the full inverse data on between that and men who watch lesbian porn. Like, are the
Yeah.
numbers or percentage like around equal? Is it like that?
I would be so intrigued. Well, because I feel like usually when I hear this argument, there's obviously, because I use the word fetishized, which inherently has a negative
Absolutely,
connotation
yes.
to it. So it's like this argument is frequently presented as completely negative, of like women are obsessed with gay men, for whatever reason. And I don't, off the top of my head, have anything like substantial that somebody's listed. I did hear a counter argument to it recently that I think is worth mentioning, where someone was talking about the concept of their reasoning for why they think this exists is that, like, men compared to women are kind of like these big domineering creatures of frequently, like, men just as a whole are larger than women. And so there's a power imbalance in the relationship. And so to see men interact in a relationship where there is no power imbalance and it's inherently like safe and comforting, and also there's an understanding of what they face in the world as far as like how they are allowed to express emotions and move through the world. So it's inherently like it is more intimate and gentle because of these two factors. And that's why it's desirable for straight women, is because they're seeing men be like these raw, real human beings, essentially, for the first time in a space where they completely can be. And I'm like, I could get that possibly being like a root cause of a lot of this. I would be very curious what the relationship is between women who watch gay men interact and gay men and men who watch lesbian porn. I think that'd be
gay man
hilarious.
who watches lesbian porn has got to be
probably not a high statistic.
Yeah. I mean, I do, because we were talking about this earlier, where it's just like gay men in media is more common than lesbians in media, just because men are always first. Men are always more present than the females are. But like, so I do think that I want to see more women get into, like, I don't want to say Yuri because that's a fetish, but like I want to see more women get into lesbian romance stuff. Like I feel like there's a lot there. It's weird because I'm a guy saying it, and like as a guy I should be into lesbian porn, right? I'm not. It's all fake. Lesbian porn is so boring.
Lesbian porn is, I think, objectively the worst porn I've ever seen in my life.
Absolutely.
Because it is 100% like no part of it is real.
Have you ever watched like old vintage porn of like a guy eating a woman out? He looks so uncomfortable. His face is all scrunched up and his tongue is like, it's like barely out of his mouth, and he's just kind of like flicking it around, and the woman is like an actress. She's like, have orgasm here. Got it. Act the shit out of my life. Got it. And it's just so boring. And then it's just like, all right, now have two women do that, and it's so boring.
Well, one of my favorite things that I ever saw was, it was lesbian porn. So there's two women, and one of them is wearing a strap-on, and the other girl started sucking the strap-on dick.
I know.
I hate that. Like they're both moaning, and I was like, neither of you are feeling anything from this.
Stupid. I hate it. Lesbian porn's the worst.
Like no part of this is like even remotely believable. The suspension of disbelief is off the charts here. Lesbian
porn is designed for people who think women orgasm is a myth.
Yeah, truly. Like a 50s husband is like the standard we're working with here.
Because, like, I mean, even in regular porn now, I'll be like, well, that's not doing anything for her. I know that. There's nothing happening there, and that's sad for you, and now I'm sad, and this isn't working.
Now I'm sad, and I'm going to just turn this off and go do something else.
Yeah, I'm going to go kick the ball around out back. That'll make me feel better. If you want a good female on female love story, I've recommended this before, but the guy she was interested in wasn't a guy at all, also known as the Green Yuri manga, is hella good. It's very healthy, very relatable, very real. I highly recommend it.
I actually, if you get around to it, Heated Rivalry does start very much as like HBO porn at the beginning, where it's a lot of them sleeping with each other. But the last like 3 episodes are pretty much predominantly about their emotional relationships, and it does get quite good in that point. I'm like that. I'm glad that that show has a fan base. However, that fan base is formed, and I don't love that they're necessarily like probably toxic, but I'm hyped that it got renewed because there's such a high importance in having representation that's not like hypercritical. And I thought
Well,
it was
my
nice.
book has
So,
no sex in it or fan service whatsoever. It is just a cute, sweet, romantic story.
well, there you go. 2 gay medias to watch. One with butts, one without butts. Or with
Hey,
less butts.
Rachel. Hey, Rachel, what have you been listening to?
Gamage, I have been listening to Blixt and Sasha Keeble, which Sasha Keeble, I believe, is an artist I recommended this year, earlier in the year, because I think she dropped a whole album. But she has a song where she crosses over with Blixt on his new album. That's spelled BLXST. The album came out on Friday and is called Labor of Love. And I believe the song Ruin was released a little bit early as like a teaser for the album. So I think it's its own separate single. But I'm going to recommend that as my main song for the album. And then, yeah, I would just go check it out. It's like, I'm bad at genres. I'm not good at boxes,
okay.
man.
It's okay.
I'm bad at genres and themes, but it's like it's like rap and like a little bit of hip hop.
Give me vibes.
It's good vibes.
Like, what vibes you get? Because, like, I'll say, like, I get punk rock vibes, and people will be like, it's not punk rock. It's just like, that's fine. I don't care what you think.
It's
fine.
like R&B rap vibes, and they're like Ruin is a definitely like a more emotional song. Gamage, who have you been listening to this week?
I want to talk about my favorite gender fluid musician,
Okay.
Dorian Electra.
Fantastic.
I brought Dorian Electra up like a year ago, I think, in an episode when I was gushing, like I was talking about a different musician and I brought up Dorian Electra and I was talking about them a lot. But I think I cut it out. I don't remember, but I remember you were asking if that was my recommendation for the week. And I was like, no, I don't want to talk about them yet. Well, now I do. Now is yet.
It's time.
Today is yet. So I first started listening to Dorian Electra after Man to Man and Guyliner came out. And I love the style. It's very electronica, chaotic, kind of artsy pop. Very electronic. They have a very interesting like themes in their song. Like there's a song I'm a Gentleman, which is about the nice guy type incels that wear fedoras. Hilarious song. But the biggest reason I'm recommending them now is because it's kind of on theme. But also they released an album a month or two back. And it's just full of deliciously done covers from a whole slew of artists. It's got Bob Dylan's Tambourine Man, Shakira's Hips Don't Lie, No Doubt's Hella Good, Gorillaz Feel Good Incorporated, Simon and Garfunkel's Scarborough Fair, Anya's Caribbean Blue, Eminem's Without Me, Kraftwerk's The Model. That has a little bit of reggae to it. It's very interesting. I love it. Peter, Bjorn, and John's Young Folks, which I don't even like the original song, but I really love the cover of it. And New Order's Bizarre Love Triangle. Now, anything on this album sounds good, and you should just like listen to it. I highly recommend. I love covers. I'm a sucker for covers. I love hearing interpretations in different kind of angles of sound. Like when an artist hears a song and they're like, "Oh, I'm interpreting this," so they try to like sing it like that, and I love that. But I do recommend checking out Dorian Electra's older work. I love it all. My top 3 on this album have to land in the realm of Bizarre Love Triangle because I'm a huge New Order fan. The Model, which if you haven't heard Kraftwerk's The Model, like the original stuff, it's fucking good. And I have like Bizarre Love Triangle and The Model get like covered all the time, and I've never heard a bad one. It's always good. And I also recommend Caribbean Blue. The original is done by Anya, and you know Anya. It's or Enya, sorry. Some people get really pissed when I say Anya. Enya is very like Lord of the Rings. It's the singing it's boring. It's boring.
Sorry, can you repeat that? I missed it. Fantastic. Beautiful. You've really sold it.
It's not
for
Halo.
me.
It's not Halo. I gotta.
I know. I was like, that's really what it's coming off as, and I know you don't mean it, but it does sound that way.
I was starting to veer to Halo, but no.
Yeah.
Enya is does Lord of the Rings kind of fairy, elfy kind of choir singing in the forest kind of music, which is fine if you're into that. I'm not. I kind of get bored of it. But Dorian Electra's version of Caribbean Blue is fucking an EDM nightmare, just rave dance hit, and I love it. It's so good. And that's my recommendation.
Phenomenal. Thank you guys for listening. Or if you liked what you heard, or your sexual experience has also been erased by the LGBTQIA+, please like and subscribe on whatever your most favorite podcasting place is. If you want us to talk about a thing, please email us at whtpah@gmail.com. That's whatpaw@gmail.com. You can also follow us at We Have That Podcast at Home, all one big long word, on Instagram, or you can follow us on Blue Sky at WHTPAH. That's whatpaw on Blue Sky. And next week we will be tackling the illustrious and fine art of it's comedy, bitch.
Comedy, great. Phone it in.
Yeah,
we phoned it in a lot. Like we kind of phoned in this one. We kind of just got a list and then talked.
I know, but I don't think it was bad. We had opinions.
We're gonna phone in this one too. Thank you. I've been off-brand. I've been off-brand Gamage. Goodbye.
And I've been off-brand Rachel, and this has been We Have That Podcast at Home.